The Santa Clara judge who sentenced the Stanford University athlete to only 6 months in jail after he was caught raping an unconscious woman behind a dumpster has just presided over another case involving an Hispanic man who was facing similar charges and was convicted of similar charges. So Aaron Persky unsurprisingly gave the Hispanic individual a very different sentence from Brock Turner, the Stanford University athlete. So Raul Ramirez, a 32-year-old immigrant from El Salvador who admitted to sexually assaulting his female roommate in a case that has similarities with the Stanford case, will be sentenced to 3 years in state prison under a deal overseen by Judge Aaron Persky. So remember, Brock Turner only got 6 months, not in prison, in jail. There's a huge difference between the two, right? And part of the reason why is because Judge Aaron Persky felt that, hey, you know what? Going to prison would have a severe impact on Brock Turner, and we don't want that. But when it comes to a Hispanic defendant who's been convicted of sexually assaulting someone, who pleaded guilty to sexually assaulting someone, and who does deserve a lengthy sentence, well, he gets that lengthy sentence. He doesn't get the benefit of the doubt.
So on the one hand, I think, well, are we going to judge every rape or sexual assault case in Judge Persky's life and career from here on out?
Yes.
Every time he gives a sentence that's longer than 6 months, are we going to say, oh, there he goes again? Well, it's going to be tough for him to remain a judge if that's the case. You know, it's not up to us to figure that out. But and I don't want all the rape cases in front of him getting light sentences.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't. I
right.
definitely don't. I want fair sentences, right? So I don't want anyone to watch this video and think that I'm advocating for a short sentence for the El Salvadorian guy who sexually assaulted his roommate. I think that everyone should be treated equally. I think Brock Turner's sentence was too light. And here's one of the biggest issues in California that I actually didn't know about until recently. So in California, the minimum required sentence for someone who rapes an unconscious woman is shorter than someone who rapes a conscious woman. So if you are raping a conscious woman, you have to be sentenced to a minimum of 3 years behind bars, right? But if it's an unconscious woman, or unconscious person, I should say, 2 years behind bars. There's this weird double standard.
What is that, the Bill Cosby loophole?
I have no idea, but it's crazy.
What? So is it better if Bill Cosby knocks him out with drugs first, or you find an unconscious person in the street and start raping them? That's, according to California law, is literally better. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
So look, on the other hand, what we're trying to get people to see is what they apparently don't see. And that's why Brock Turner got the sentence that he did, and the Affluenza team got the sentence that he did. Because when they see a guy from El Salvador, they think, yeah, that's a guy who belongs in prison. Yes, he did a sexual assault. It's not a tough case. 3 years, off you go. Now, when they see a young, fairly affluent, I don't know to what degree he's rich, right? But Stanford student,
it's a little different.
They think, well, no, I mean he's a good kid, and and I often say, like, he looks like my son. I don't know that he looks like Persky's son. That's not what I mean. I don't mean it quite literally. I mean, like, that's a person that I would know. It might be my neighbor's son.
Yeah.
It might be my friend's son. And so that's a guy. I'm like, oh no, he made a mistake. Whereas I see the other guy and I think, that's not a mistake. I can't believe you raped that woman. You belong in prison.
Yeah.
So don't have that different view. So have the same view. You want to be tough on both, fine. You want to be merciful to both, fine. But make sure that justice is actually blind.
Right. And by the way, there's a lot of credibility to what you're saying, and I think it actually goes deeper than that, because I don't think Aaron Persky looks at Brock Turner and thinks, oh, that could be my son. I think Aaron Persky looks at Brock Turner and thinks, oh, I was that kid once. Not in that he was a rapist once, but Aaron Persky was also an athlete at Stanford University, right? That plays a huge role. I mean, that type of bias, whether it's subconscious or it's something that he's very aware of, exists. It's very clear. And by the way, here the cases were similar, right? But there were some instances where it wasn't so similar. Brock Turner was actually worse, because in the case of Raul Ramirez, he confessed to sexually assaulting his roommate immediately. His roommate alleged that he was penetrating her with his fingers against her will. He didn't penetrate her in any other way, right? He confessed to it right away. He was very apologetic right away, and he did not get a lighter sentence, right? Brock Turner, till this day, completely denies that he raped that woman, right? Did not apologize. In fact, blamed his actions on party culture and alcohol. So, I mean, it's amazing that you have one guy who shows no remorse, okay, and then you have another guy that shows remorse, but the person who shows remorse gets a longer sentence than the person who's obviously more privileged.
And so, for you guys, you might think like, well, maybe the guy who doesn't confess might be innocent or something. No, but in the justice system, they put a lot of weight on, hey, are you confessing? Are you remorseful? And part of the reason they do that is, have you learned your lesson so you're not going to do it again? You're not a threat anymore. Whereas Brock Turner seems to have not necessarily learned his lesson based on the letters that he wrote that we covered and the other people that he's blaming. The other guy is saying, yeah, I learned my lesson. That was terrible. I'm so sorry. I should have never done that. And they're like, oh, yeah, good job on being remorseful. Off you go, Mr. El Salvadorian. Of course you're going to prison. Who do you think you are? Now, I don't want it to be personal. I don't know anything about Aaron Persky, and I'd be surprised if he wasn't a perfectly pleasant person. It's all we're trying to do is get people to open their eyes to maybe you have an unconscious bias, maybe you have an implicit bias for someone, and in a way that like you get it, like, oh, that could have been me there, but for the grace of God. Oh, I never put myself in the position of the person from El Salvador. It's not that you can't intellectually understand that. Of course you can. But you're not feeling it. That's why the judgments come down, and not just in Persky's court, but all over the country. If a person who's privileged gets all the breaks, a person who's not, I can't relate with you, so I don't empathize with you, you get no breaks. Well, that's the injustice system.